Welcome to the first episode of Down There with Liz. I'm your host, Liz from Lioness, the company that has engineered smart vibrators that let people explore their own bodies and pleasure. For the last decade, I've been fortunate to talk to people who do a lot of cool things down there, from doctors, researchers, inventors, countless of other people, and I've enjoyed those conversations a lot. So I figured I'd record some of these conversations and share them with people in case there's anyone out there who'd find it interesting. This first episode is with my Lioness co-founder, Anna. You may know her on TikTok or Instagram as AnnaTheAverage or Anna is Average. And she creates a variety of videos about her job as a smart vibrator engineer and also talks about some of the research that she comes across. We've worked together for over 6 years now, from some of the earliest prototypes for Lioness in the UC Berkeley engineering basement to today, where we have our own office. Now, onto the episode. There we go. Okay. Yeah, okay. I tested this, at least with my own voice. I'll move it a little this way.
Okay. I can come closer.
Okay. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. I think this year has been very like social butterfly extroverted phase of my life. I feel like I go through waves, and I definitely went through a very introverted phase, but then I think I'm realizing I'm more extrovert than I thought I was. So I'm very I want to go see people. I want to go hang out at all times. Every night, if I'm not doing something, I get a little antsy, which is kind of chaotic, but it's good.
So yeah, and that's interesting too, because you're the engineer, basically, of the team, and you're also probably, I would say, you're one of the most social, if not the most social of our group.
That's true. I mean, but I feel like I've had a phase where I was I don't want to go to anything, or don't send me to anything. I don't want to see or meet people. But I think now, I think more it's also because we've been doing this for so long, so I'm you know what, I just say I'm who I am, whatever, I'll just take it or leave it kind of situation, versus before I felt we probably had more to prove, which is why I didn't want to go to conferences and stuff, and I felt I had to pitch our company all the time, but yeah, I feel less like that.
That's true. But still, people usually think of engineers as the nerdy lame person, lame, they wear or I don't know what the style is these days, but in a nerdy outfit, and they're in the corner somewhere, and you're not that at all.
I'm glad. I mean, I think I went through phases. I think if people have met me in college, they know that I was I definitely was hoodie and jeans, and I didn't dress up or anything. But yeah,
which is okay. So I have in my notes here I was going to talk about I was going to talk about the fashion thing a little later, but something that I know people have noticed on your TikTok account or on Instagram is your fashion and your style. And our intern also mentioned it too, when she met you, that she was oh my gosh, she was so stylish compared to me and my H&M, you know who I'm talking about.
I'm very okay, yeah.
Yeah, so what's, I mean, yeah, going in that direction first, and then steering back towards the Lioness stuff.
Yeah.
How did you get inspired into getting, exploring fashion with your clothing, your hair, your nails, all of it?
I know this is probably the most normal hair I've had in a long time. Where I actually recently, because I was looking at photos of my mom back when she was 30s. And I realized my mom was always stylish, and I guess I just never put the two and two together. And so I was she's always kind of wore really bold, colorful things, and kind of weird looking. And so I think it all translated to me of being okay wearing kind of more out there stuff. And I think also being Gemini, and I'm a Leo rising. So I have, of course, the zodiac's coming. I have a little bit of I like kind of loud clothes and stuff like that. But I think definitely, actually, this is something when I was working at Amazon, and I remember meeting, I think she was an executive at Apple, and I was looking for a mentor, and I asked her because I was I don't know, I want to dress up, and that time I was more girly too, so I was I want to put heels on and wear a dress, but I'm worried about how it makes me come off in meetings if I'm the only girl that's super like feminine looking, like really like pink and all of that. And she was like, that is such a odd, I think she just didn't understand like why that was like a big concern of mine, of like how I presented myself to people.
How did she present herself?
She was very like professional, I think, like very professional. She's like, but also she was like, why can't you just do what you want to do? But then I think I was so young and I like wanted to prove myself, and I already looked young at the time too. So I think I was very like nervous about like, oh, am I gonna be like respected, or people gonna think I'm like smart enough? And I think also because the way I talk is very like Californian, casual, slow. So I was like, I felt like I had a lot of things against me. So I used to like be worried about how I dressed all the time. But then I think maybe when we started Lioness, I think I was already like, well, like who am I looking at? Like it's like 3 of us working on a table, and I like just didn't matter. So I just was like, oh, whatever. But
you were the only woman engineer on your team, from what I remember. Yeah,
we like had like I think another woman engineer come at some point, and then we had like 2. But then I think for the majority of it, I was like the only woman engineer. And I always felt like my team was awesome. Like everyone was like super nice, and like I learned a lot. But it just feels always slightly off. And then I used to wear heels. I don't remember. I don't know. I remember the heels. Yeah, yeah. I used to wear heels all the time. And then I think James one time was like, you know, there's like studies that will like destroy your feet for the rest of your life or something. Like there's no surgery that can fix it or something.
That made the impression?
Yeah, I thought about it because I did complain like, oh, my feet hurt. And then he was like, yeah, because you wear heels all the time. And I was like, oh. And so I think I've like wear heels less now. But yeah, when he first met me, I probably was like super like heels and like more like feminine clothes and stuff like that. And then I was just, I don't know. I just kind of like do whatever feels right at the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's interesting just because you pretty much, you've bucked a lot of the stereotypes of an engineer. And then also, I think, at least my perception being in the Bay Area and like growing up and at times in this area, like what a female engineer would do or be like that sort of thing.
Yeah. I mean, I think you have it too. Like you have like a flair in how you dress, and like I think also because we're in a odd space. Like sex tech is an odd space, so I think both of us are just kind of like, dude, F it, just, you know, do whatever makes you feel good. But yeah.
I mean, I used to like try to dress traditionally and stuff too. Like I worked at an investment bank before. Yeah. Or I sold my soul a little bit for my first job and worked with a group of all men and one like woman boss. And yeah, it was like kind of a similar-ish dynamic where you had to kind of prove yourself, but you're with these dudes, and it's a whole thing. I feel like
even when we maybe went to like our first like investor meeting or something, we probably like thought about what we're gonna wear. I feel like we've had a whole conversation of like, does this like, should we dress up, but then you don't want to be too dressed up, but then you don't want to like come too casual. Like it was like a whole thing. So it'd probably be funny to find. There's not a photo existing, but if we saw what our outfits look like, our first investor meeting, it would probably look very different than how we present ourselves now.
For me anyway.
I think for just all of us involved. There's definitely photos from like when we're in Berkeley where some of my outfits, I'm like, dang, like this is wild.
I think we could probably find some from the Indiegogo if we...
There's some wild photos.
Yeah. Oh,
we were like learning, experimenting with our whatever.
Yeah, so. trying to look official, but kind of, well, at least I can speak for me, kind of coming. I don't know how I came off, actually. I have no idea.
No, I think you were also chill, though, when we first met.
Or, I mean, to investors.
Oh, that we'll never know.
Yeah.
I'm curious what investors say about us. Or had said about us back then.
Investors, write in. Let us know. Okay, so moving kind of steering more towards like the Lioness stuff. Yeah, like a lot of the people who are going to listen to this probably know about Lioness in some shape or form. Like, so, well, one, like, I guess we could go over like what is Lioness really quick. If you can explain, I can explain.
You want me to pitch it to you?
Sure.
We're a sexual wellness startup. We built the first and only smart vibrator that gives biofeedback data on orgasms, arousals, so what you like, what you don't like, how things might change over time. You use it like a regular vibrator, and then you pair it to your phone, and you can actually see data, and the data will look different if you've had lack of sleep, or we had an athlete that had a concussion. I literally did this earlier today, this exact sentence, paragraph. So
yes,
but yeah, it's a smart vibrator that doesn't exist otherwise, I think, in this world.
Yeah.
Still to this day,
yeah. So that's what we do. In case you're, you just came
randomly came across this.
Yeah. So, but just to lay the foundational work, and you're a co-founder, you're the head of engineering, like. Okay, so the first question...
And you're the co-founder and CEO.
Yes, I'm the co-founder and CEO. Thank you. So, okay, the first question that I know is like, you get all the time from people, but just to kind of establish it for people who haven't heard about it, like, how do you become a sex toy engineer?
I feel like I've said this story, and like every time I think about it more, it changes a little bit. Not that it's like a fake story, but like, I think, like, I'm understanding the full circle of it, because it very much is, like, I definitely didn't mean to do it in a shape. And I tell people to this day, like, I didn't mean to be an entrepreneur. Like, like, some people grow up, they're like, oh, I want to have my own business. Like, I was very, like, I'm going to work in corporate America. I want to get a paycheck. I'm going to go in, clock out, and then do other things I want to do in life. And I think, I think after doing that at Amazon for a few years, I was like, oh, like, this is what you're supposed to do for the rest of your life. And so then I remember that, and then meeting just like serendipitously a founder of a different sex toy company, which doesn't exist anymore.
Which we know, but we won't. Yeah, we won't spill that tea.
I always wonder if we can roast it because it doesn't exist anymore. But we have the product.
It's okay.
Yeah. And I just remember being like, how do you know what works? Like, how do you know? Because it was a guy, like a cis man, like who built the product, and he was like, oh, there's this industry standard where you put the vibration on your nose. And I just remember being like, one, I haven't really used sex toys, I think, before even starting Lioness. Like, maybe I've used like some cheapy ones or like whatever, but I definitely was like, that's kind of crazy that something so intimate, or like what I thought would be categorized as like a medical device or like has tons of regulations, is like this, like, I just imagine a team that's like mostly dudes who are like, oh, you put it on your nose and that's what your clitoris feels like, and being like, yeah, this is a good product, and then just like shipping it. And then I think I learned enough at Amazon to be like what good design is, and like how do you design with like people in mind and things like that. And I just remember being like, oh, I guess it's true, the sex toy industry is super outdated. And then I think just us figuring, I think from that, just luckily, because of my roommate at the time, introduced me to you guys and was like, oh, like, there's these two people working on this. Like, you should meet them. And so I got to meet you, and then I was like, oh, I want to work on this as, like, a fun side project. And then, it definitely, the side project became a whole, I mean, we're here to this day, but...
8 years later?
I want to say 7.
I think, I started...
I'm year 7 right now.
Yeah, I started late 2013.
Oh, you might be year 9.
Oh, God. Yeah. And I think it was like about a year and a half later.
Yeah. And I would truly say, like, there's a lot of things in life where there's a lot of, like, thinking and strategy and logic behind decisions. But I think this is definitely one of those that just kind of happened. We were really young. And then I was like, oh, this sounds like a cool thing to try. And then it wasn't that much thought beyond, like, I think we, like, worked together for long enough that I was like, oh, like, this could be really cool. Like, these people seem really genuine and, like, good people. Because we joke about it now, because I'm always like, James is also like, what if we ended up just being, like, horrible people that screwed you over? And I was like, yeah, isn't that crazy that could have happened and it didn't happen, kind of thing? But, yeah.
It's true. Yeah, it's always scary to, like, try anything.
Yeah.
Like... Yeah, and, like, working with people, whether it's, like, someone you know or you don't know or know, because, there's, I mean, this is not related to Down There, but, like, in terms of, like, the podcast, the working title of the podcast name, but, yeah, there's so many situations that you hear about where, like, family screws each other over in business, and it's a...
I mean, we've seen it in, like, startup space, like people that have started startups the same time as us and stuff. Like, it's most of the time it's not because the product is bad or the team, like, company or the idea is bad. It's because, like, the team dynamics don't work, right? And I think we've heard that a lot.
Oh yeah.
We hear a lot of crazy stories, and I'm always like, oh my god.
Yeah, I'm like, we're pretty chill.
Yeah, I feel like we've been very lucky I mean, I always tell people, like, obviously we've had ups and downs, like, throughout the years, but, like, I think generally we always came to, like, understanding or, like, growth in a helpful way. So, yeah. It's, like, overall, like, amazing.
We're all decent people to start with, too, which also helped.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, there's, oh my god, there's some.
Now I'm, like, thinking about all the, like, things that have happened, and I'm like, dang, like, people will just never know.
Yeah, that's outside the scope of this podcast. Okay, so that's, I mean, that's basically, you started as an engineer, and then you got interested in making sex toys, and did it with Lioness, and, you know, we're all kind of working on this together, and poof, you're a sex toy engineer.
I know. That's a crazy thing to be, like, coined, honestly.
It is.
Or, like, coined, like, titled. Yeah. It's, like, so, like, it's definitely something I never expected. And I think more recently just been okay leaning into more. But, yeah, you know me, like, before I was like, dude, I don't want to have to be, like, anything front-facing or, like,
that's
you're like
the engineer persona coming in here.
Yeah, then I was always like, oh, like, I don't want to do any of that. But I think this is, like, probably these past 2 years have been very, like, oh, like, I think it's good, and we should, like, definitely be a representation, because it's still a pretty small industry, and, like, there's not that many people that look like us building things like this, so.
Right. Yeah, and then, you went from, like, being, like, wanting to be in the background to now having your TikTok account and almost 500,000 followers, which is, like, or the 400,000 followers. I keep my numbers, I can't count, but yeah, like, you went from being, like, more in the background to being very present with like, being out there, being extroverted. So how did that happen?
Oh man, like, that was just TikTok really happened because it was the pandemic, and it was when we all had a lockdown, and then I was already so consumed with TikTok. I had so many things. I was like, damn, that's so funny, like, wow, people are so smart, like, creative, and I was, like, super into it. And then I think really it was just, like, the question, like, someone had a prompt, like, what did you study, and then what do you do for a living now? And then I saw someone that was, like, I think a NASA engineer who became a beekeeper, and I saw hers, and I was like, well, that's cool. I was like, I have a cool thing. And so I, like, had posted it, and then I went into the office that day too. And then I remember, like, coming back, and I was, like, making dinner. And then, like, all these Instagram, like, I was starting to get, like, Instagram pings because all my TikTok notifications were shut off. And then I was like, I don't understand what's happening. And then I was, like, super confused. And then I realized, like, that video had picked up and went viral. And so because of that, I think it just, like, kicked off this whole thing of, like, oh, shoot, we should do more, I guess, like, content. And actually, luckily, right before that, I had already started on Instagram, like, they're still up. I actually been thinking about deleting them because I was like,
watch them while you can.
I know. I was like, they're not that cute. So, like, but it was, like, me being, like, just things I've learned about sex, like, that I just thought, like, was, like, good information to put out. And it's literally me talking to, like, my laptop camera. And then because I already did that, I was like, oh, I could just put this content into TikTok since I already have all these people starting to, like, engage with, like, that current video. And so then I just started doing that and then putting, like, orgasm data. And I think we've already always posted our own orgasm data. So it wasn't even like, oh, should I do this? Like, I was like, it's whatever. It's already out in the world. Like, I'm just going to keep posting it. And so it just ended up that it was already things that we kind of, like, light touched on. And so it was a nice way to, like, just put it onto TikTok. And then it just, like, picked up really nicely. And I think it was also probably the time that TikTok was really growing as a thing. And, like, they're really pushing creators. Because I think probably if you're trying to create content now, like, it wouldn't have picked up in the same way that it did. It was just a perfect time and place for it, I think, more than anything. But very accidental, but cool. I mean, like, I appreciate it. But, we also talked about this because I was, like, horrified. And then you were like, oh, you have to make more content. And I was like, I don't want to do, like, it was, like, a whole thing. So,
because, like, we used to do a lot more, like, blog posts. And, like that... You still hate it.
Yeah, writing is not my forte at all. Yeah, I think just, like, constant... I think anything, like, regimented that we had to keep doing, I was, like, not a fan of. And then it became TikTok. And then I started getting so stressed about having to make a TikTok. which is why I only post like once every month, but it should be better about it. But yeah, it was like, it became a whole thing where I was like, I felt like I had to do a good job at it versus like I wanted to have fun doing it, which then made it really stressful for a little bit.
Right. Yeah, I only experienced this secondhand through you. But yeah, it's like it's a whole endeavor. And it's a second job. I mean, like, some people are just like influencers on like full time.
Yeah, I can't imagine what that feels like. And then I like never read the comments. Like, you read like my comments, and then I'm like scared because of like, if there's ever a time when someone's gonna be mean, I was like, I'm too sensitive, like I can't handle it. So I'm always like, I think that's also the scary part, is like putting yourself public facing. Is like, you're like putting yourself. And then if people know you and they watch the videos, that always weirds me out too.
Oh,
yeah. Because they probably know me in a different way, and then they're like, you're being so like extra bubbly on video, and I'm like, don't watch my videos.
I can relate on that, because when we did a lot more blog posts, and we were writing, and I was writing some of the stuff. Like, my favorite comment from friends was, I read your recent blog post with a period, no reaction.
That's even worse.
Yeah. Like,
they should at least be like, oh, I love your video or your content, like your blogs.
Yeah, no,
That's scary. See, that would ruin me. I'd be like, okay, and I'd just be like, don't read them anymore.
Yeah. Well, yeah, my mom did that too, actually.
Oh my god. Okay, well, see, that's scary. Luckily, my parents don't speak English, so it's perfect.
Yeah, my mom's on our newsletter, and sometimes she responds.
Oh, that's kind of cute.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
I know. Yeah, it's cute, but yeah, sometimes she does not approve. Occasionally, I don't know how often she reads it now, but occasionally she's like, I saw this post, and I don't know about that.
See, this is the thing because people ask us all the time, like, what our parents think about what we do. And I feel like obviously, like, we've gone through the trials and tribulations, and like our parents are very understanding, and like, yeah, they're like happy for what we're doing. But then I always tell people, like, yes, but like, it's still my mom at the end of the day. Like, yeah, like, I'm doing this thing, and I think we have a mutual understanding, like, we're able to have conversations. But still, like, it's your mom, so when she watches like my orgasm data video or whatever, it still feels wrong in some, like, wrong, but like weird. And so I always have to help, like, as much as we're, like, more open and, like, we've worked through a lot of that stuff, like, it's still, like, it's your mom, like, reading your stuff, which is weird.
Yeah, I don't know what she reads in particular of mine, like, because she's never cited
all of them.
Oh, my God. Well, yeah, the big one would be the cannabis ones, where they're not...
Does she know that you...
Oh, all right, we don't talk about it.
Oh, but she probably knows.
She probably knows. I don't know if oh my God, I'm not talking. We're moving on from that.
Okay, a total side story, but last time I was driving, my mom and I took a road trip to Joshua Tree, and she was like, have you tried any drugs? And I was like, what? I was like, what do you mean? And she was like, she's like, have you tried like weed? And she was like, I was like, one time in college, I like tried it. Just to experiment. She was like, oh, she's like, okay. She's like, but you don't do it anymore. And I was like, no. No. It was one time. And she's like, any other drugs? And I was like, no. I was like, maybe in college I was like experimented once, but just to know. And I was like, I was very safe environment, like, whatever. She's like, okay, good. She's like, yeah, she's like, don't do drugs. And I was like, And then I was just driving like this, and I was like, oh my God, like, I was like so scared because we're like trapped in a car, but
that is kind of scary.
But see, I was like only half like, so I was like, I tried it once, so.
I don't know how I would approach that conversation with.
See, I'd much rather her ask like, oh, like, when did you lose your virginity, or like ask me a masturbation question over, have I done drugs? I don't know why it's like such a scary question to be asked.
I don't even know which one I would choose in that case.
Ooh, that's a good would you rather. Actually, I think most people would choose drugs. I think only because we're in this space, I'm like...
Yeah, I guess I'd rather... Okay, I had to sit and think about it, but yeah, I think...
Okay, it's would you rather have your mom find a joint in your sock drawer or a vibrator?
At what age?
When you're 17. So you're still under your, like, house rules.
Yeah, it would probably would be I'd rather have her find the vibrator because she wouldn't, or at least for my family, could be different for others. Like she wouldn't punish me for having a vibrator, but she would punish me for having the joint.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It'd just be awkward.
Yeah, but she did one time, like I started when I was a teenager, I was experimenting with like different types of underwear, and she did not approve of thongs at all. And she actually like hid one.
Really?
in the side yard with like, I'm forgetting where, it was like somewhere in like the plants or something. Like she just like threw it somewhere, and I don't know how I found it, but I was walking through and I'm like, why is that over there?
Were you mortified?
I didn't realize what it was at first. I figured out later. She was like, she brought it up at some point because I think she found it back in the dresser because she would like put clothes. And she was like, I see you found this.
Whoa. That makes me wonder, like, that's also a question of like, when is the first thong that you owned? Actually, it must be like high school.
Yeah.
And like go to like mall with your friends and you're like, oh, this is so cute.
Yeah, this is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm a woman now. Yeah. Interesting. That's like thought I've never had in a long time.
Yeah. She didn't blame me though for it. She just threw it into behind the bushes.
Wow.
But yeah. Anyway, this is about you.
Okay.
So let's not talk about. I already
knew this was gonna get derailed.
Oh yeah, but we'll see how people like it. And
okay.
Yeah, if people find this super boring, well, my show will be canceled. I will cancel it. All right. So what else? I guess like let's see. How long have we been going to?
Yeah, what time is it?
About 25
minutes. Your screen is still going?
Yeah, it looks like it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I think we can skip that for. We kind of talked about it. So okay. Yeah, so something that I think, like, as I was putting this together, like, something I was thinking that, like, other people, like, other, like, podcasts wouldn't be able to talk about as much is our experiences, like, your experiences.
No, but this is, like, our experiences.
Yeah.
It's rare stories to be told, for sure.
Yes, war stories, and it's a startup that has survived. I think it's, like, 1% of companies survive past... forgetting the stats, but
let's stack it on like being women founders in a hardware company in sex tech, like in the Bay Area.
First time founders. We weren't in VC or we weren't in VC before, which gets you a free relationships. You already build the relationships.
We all came from like totally random backgrounds for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, what stories do you want to talk about?
Well, I'm thinking, and since we have the video for this, which I'm hoping will work.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of showing some of the pictures, and for people who are listening on the podcast, having a link where they can check out the pictures of some of our memories. I pulled from our social media and our different places.
Well, I'm really scared, actually.
I chose more Lioness specific ones for the most part. So.
Cute.
I have, this one here. So. I wasn't here, but I remember seeing it.
Yeah.
Tell me what's going on here.
This must have been us working on our Indiegogo. So this is our first time we were actually even trying to launch the product. This is probably when we already had talked about having a delay in our manufacturing because we had like sensor issues. I think that was maybe one of the most like catastrophic, terrifying times of our lives.
Yeah.
Having to tell everyone that our like product was delayed. And it was the time like crowdfunding was also like a lot of people were like scamming on crowdfunding where they would just take the money and then not do the project. And I remember being like, oh my God, everyone's gonna think our product is a scam. And like,
so we did get some of those people who are like, is this real? Is this a scam? And we're like, we swear we're...
They're like trying to make pictures to be like, we're in... Yeah, so this is James, our other co-founder. We went to China and we were there for quite a long time, at the manufacturing facility.
It was like 2 weeks, I think. And
this was a solid time. And I think I always tell this as a story of we were so scrappy. I think when people think of startups, we were startup to our truest form. And we were like living in the factory dorms to, one, save money, to be close to the factory and just go there as soon as the doors open in the morning.
That's true, because some people who aren't in tech, who like may not be aware of it, but like for Apple, like if you work at Apple or Amazon or like a well-funded startup, maybe like
you go to like a nice hotel and then you have a shuttle that takes you, because that factory, but we were like two people, like, you know, their factory is like doing tons of different products, and we're like this little tiny company trying to do this. And so, but they gave us lunch, which was nice, which is this noodle thing I really liked. But yeah, this is us just trying to fix the issue to make sure our manufacturing was running. And I remember we needed to like send updates and stuff, and we just really wanted to tell people like, hey, we're actually here on the grounds, like doing everything we can. But this is definitely maybe like top 3 most stressful times at Lioness. Us just trying to like launch our very first product. And I think that was really scary, considering like I was coming from an Amazon team where like a Kindle team would be like 300 different people working on a product. And then it was, you know, like a handful of us, mainly James and I, like working on the engineering parts of it and all of that. And it was like so scary to be like, oh my God, like, is this going to all work? Like, you know, are we really going to be able to like cover like a 300 other people's amount of work? And I remember just, this is definitely a crazy time. And my hair was purple.
Yeah, your hair was great. I
had fun hair. The effort is so high, I can't do it anymore, but it was fun for sure.
And I remember too, I didn't find the picture, but I was remembering this as you were talking about it. I remember the picture of, I think it was a frog in the shower or the toilet.
I'm sure I have it somewhere. It was the dorm room that I was staying in. I think one, because I'm not accustomed to not having a mattress, they sleep on like just the box top.
Mm-hmm. Which was
rough. Yeah, so that was rough in itself. And then it was really hot, I think, when we went. And then it's like right next to like a swamp kind of area. And so I think a frog had come, and I was sitting on my toilet, and it looked like one of those like toads that it's not cute, it looks like it might be poisonous, and then you're like, I don't want to touch it, and it wouldn't move. And so I would actually in the middle of the night like walk to the factory and to pee, and then like come back all the way to the dorm. And I was like waiting for this frog to disappear, and I think it maybe disappeared like a day later, but I like didn't use my toilet because I was scared to use it.
I remember that was like
yeah,
it's just very visceral.
We were very roughing it.
Yeah.
Very roughing it.
Yeah, I mean, it was a tough time. Like, we didn't have, like, up until the Indiegogo, we didn't have, like, any outside funding. Like, it was...
Yeah, we didn't even fundraise yet, right?
I think it was around the time that we did, but it was, like, enough money to do mostly for the run and for a bit of salary, I think, or something like that. Like... Yeah, it was, but yeah, it was like around that cusp, but we didn't want to like we initially raised $500,000, and like a good portion of that goes towards
just building the product,
yeah, and then you know you have a little bit of overhead for like you know for us to like pay our life,
which is like we definitely didn't pay ourselves, I think, for the first like year and a half or something.
Yeah.
I remember going snowboarding during that time, and I was like, if I get hurt, do not call an ambulance. I was like, do not call an ambulance. I don't have health insurance.
Yeah, it's... it's...
Good times.
Yeah, fun. Cool. Well, get another picture.
Okay.
Let's see. Yeah, this one.
We don't talk about this enough, actually.
Yeah, so, okay, I guess I can describe...
Yeah.
So... This picture, so this was a bus stop ad in San Francisco that we were able to put together a few years, I'm forgetting what year it was, but pre-pandemic, a few years ago. And this particular picture here is Anna at the bus stop pointing at the ad, and it says, "Redefining Orgasm." And I think the subtitle was like, "Revolutionizing the way we approach female sexuality." So... Yeah.
Why is this ad not redefining orgasms? Did we do this intentionally?
I don't know.
This isn't grammatically correct.
Is it?
Redefining orgasm? Shouldn't it be redefining the orgasm? I don't know.
People got the message.
It seems, yeah. Yeah, this is when we were like trying different methods of like how do we grow as a company, because I think being in this space is extremely hard. I bet even like this podcast would be like, if you post it, it's gonna be hard if it's like a sex related or like whatever. I heard all like sex podcasts have a difficult time like going around all the like bans and whatever things. And so like in that vein, like I think we were finding ways to expand, and one of the things was like, oh, we talked about billboard, and then we're like, we should do bus ads in San Francisco, and I think it just landed. But this was definitely not the ad that we meant to make.
Yeah.
This was us trying to go around all the rules and stuff that they were making up as we were talking to them, of like, oh, you can't have a picture of the vibrator, but you can have like 1/5 of the vibrator. And then we were like, which 1/5 of the vibrator do you want us to post? And I think we wanted to put like people with vulvas, and they're like, you can't use the word vulvas, but then orgasm was okay. Like it was like very arbitrary rules.
Yeah.
But it was cool to see it, because I remember a lot of people pinging us and being like, oh, I saw your bus ad, which is so cool that it felt like a big moment for our company. Like obviously we have like hilarious stories of us trying to even make this happen. But it was like fun. It was like cool at the time. It was like a big milestone for us to be able to do something like this, for sure.
Yeah, and I remember I felt like it was a big win because the orgasm pattern in the background, that's one of my weed orgasms. So I'm like, I stuck in cannabis very subtly in there.
Yeah.
Along with an orgasm pattern with the data idea that Svetlana, I think, was one of the first to talk about. Because like our initial idea was, or Svetlana's idea was, have the like, this is your heartbeat, this is your REM sleep, and this is your orgasm, as like 3 sort of line data charts stacked one on top of the other. And yeah, the ad company was like, oh, I don't know if we can do that. And then we were like, what sort of ad could we do?
Yeah.
And they came back with like the woman in rapture in the bed with like
turn your O's into
O's.
Yeah, I remember we're all, I think it was so funny because the guy that was pitching, it must have been a dude pitching it to us.
I don't remember, but
I remember it was like our team was like majority women, and we were all sitting there like, oh, okay, like interesting. I remember us being all like, interesting that's like okay, but then what we're trying to do, which is like a very nerdy ad, was like not okay.
Yeah, and I'm like, there's like in San Francisco, there's like SaaS ads and like, you know, nerdy stuff all the time. So it's like,
that's true.
Yeah, that's why I was more like, this is like San Francisco nerdy. This is perfect for the data is perfect for San Francisco versus like some blonde woman, white woman in like a bed. And it was so white. Like just the whole, the white bed and everything. Like so interesting.
But I'm actually surprised they let us put the word orgasm in it.
Like I know. That's
we should do this again, actually. That's kind of funny that they let us do that.
Yeah, we could be like,
and you let us do it once, let's do it again. We could probably come up with a better like.
Oh yeah,
we could be way funnier about it.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think. I mean, we have one ad campaign under our belt, so we can do more.
That's true.
All right, I'm just gonna quickly check. Okay, this one.
Oh.
So this picture, you can.
Wow, you must have screened. Oh, is this from my Facebook?
Yeah.
So I was like, I changed this whole caption. Did you know?
Oh no.
I just put like I just deleted all the reasoning on it because I found it so cringe. So on my Instagram now it just says, and my hair is gone.
Oh, this is the fake. Okay. Oh, this was, so you changed it on your Instagram.
I didn't even think about it. That's tied to Facebook.
You can change it on Facebook
I know,
now.
I should.
Yeah, I can screenshot the Instagram one if you want to.
Okay.
But yeah, do you want to talk about it or?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
this photo.
Yeah, do you want me to describe it or do you want to describe
Yeah,
it?
it's just a photo of me with my whole head shaved. I would love, I think 2017 me, I'm like really trying to think about this. I think one thing I know about myself to this day, and I think the reason why Lioness, I ended up even doing Lioness, is like I'm a little impulsive of like decisions. Like I don't really like think about it more than like, that would be cool. And I think that's what Lioness, like I think working on Lioness is like, oh, this would be really cool.
To be fair, I think a lot of people who go into starting a business are impulsive in some way.
Yeah, like, and I think you kind of need that, because otherwise you can be like, okay, so I'm not going to make money for like whatever X amount of time.
I could be making more money elsewhere. Yeah.
And then it would not be a logical decision, I think, ever. This hair, it was actually on my birthday, or like right around my birthday. My friend Caitlin, she always used to do this like really cool side cut shaved head thing, and so I was cleaning it up for her. She came over and I was like cleaning up her shave, and then she was like, "Do you want to shave your head?" And I was like, "Yeah, I do. That sounds cool." And so I completely shaved my head just on an impulse. And I think like at the time I felt like I needed a reason, because everyone was like, "Oh, like why did you do it?" But like if I'm very honest with myself, and the reason why I deleted this caption is because like I think I just did it really. I was like, oh, I think that'd be cool to do it. But then I think at the time my reasoning was like, there is a lot of times like this is still like me battling like being, am I too feminine when I go to like a vendor meeting or like an engineering meeting and like all of that, or like meeting like different people in Silicon Valley. And I think I was very like, oh, like, because I came off like sometimes like I have a bubbly personality, and I think a lot of times like I felt I had a chip on my shoulder about it, that maybe people don't take me seriously. And I don't know, maybe I thought like if I shave my head, then they don't see me as like quote unquote feminine or whatever, and so it kind of like took that thing off of it. But I think like if I'm really honest with myself, I think I just thought it was like, that was cool. And it was cool the first 3 weeks, and then Asian hair is so coarse and thick. When it grows not like a little pixie cut. It grows out like a chia pet. And so the growing out phase of this was a nightmare. Like I just like, it was so not cute. And I was wearing so many bandanas to cover it and stuff. But
I remember. I
had a huge bandana phase. If I kept the shaved head, I think I would have loved it. But then I wanted my hair back, and the growing out phase was like horrendous. Like 2 years of miserable.
And this was after this was after a lot of the like hair color combinations from what I remember. So then you did that, and then you shaved it all off.
Yeah. I think that's why I was like, oh, if people meet me, like, people that know me from before, like, I always have, like, a bleached hair, like, green hair, like, red hair. Like, I always had, like, weird, like, different colors and stuff like that. And then, like, maybe some people know me when I had, like, short hair phase. So if people meet me now, they're like, I can't imagine you with, like, bleached hair. And I was like, dude, this is, like, I haven't had this normal hair in so long. But, yeah, that's, like, I remember having that. And then I remember, the growing out phase was rough. And then I felt like I had to do makeup all the time, because I felt like otherwise it just didn't look the way that I wanted it to look, and it was very stressful.
Oh man, yeah, your hair, like particularly the hair, I think has changed a lot. Yeah, over the past time that I've known you. Yeah.
Seriously,
It's been like a whole, almost like an odyssey, like 3 phases of it so far.
I know, maybe I should make a hair prog, like the times of my life in my hair.
That could be fun. Yeah, because I was looking at the different posts, and I had trouble, like on Facebook, when I paused it, the video would go black, so I couldn't screenshot any particular hair.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of them, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like your hair color phase. I like all of your hair phases, but like
I like the hair colors. That was fun.
Yeah. So yeah, that could be something.
Effort's so high.
It's true. Do you want to...
Wow. See, I didn't even know I posted this on Facebook. That's crazy. Yeah, this is the last product. So this is the Amazon Dash button. It's actually, I think, a discontinued product now. I mean, every product I worked on Amazon's discontinued now, but it was really cool. This was the last project I worked on, I think, before I left Amazon, but... It's the Dash button where it's like tied to, say this one's for Huggies or like Tide Pods or whatever, and it's like a physical button that you stick to like up somewhere in your house, and if you run out, you hit it, and then it reorders on your Amazon. I actually thought it was a really cool concept when we were working on it. And this is probably the first project I got to see from like the very ideation to like doing prototypes, and then making a bunch of the prototypes, and then trying to get it greenlit as a project at Amazon. So it was the first like taste of, I think, startup kind of life. And my team was really cool, because most people were coming from being ex-entrepreneurs. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so they would actually talk a lot about like their startup days and all of that. So it was really cool to hear from them. And so this team was really cool, because we got to work on projects almost as if we're a startup within Amazon. because we had like electrical engineers, like software engineers, designers, like all on the team. And then so this was like a project, I think maybe that came from either our team or an executive who was like, oh, what if we just hit a button and it reorders? And so we got to actually like build this project, and then it became a product. After I left, it launched, I think, the official project. The concept I worked on actually looks not like this, but I remember like that was like my first taste of being a mechanical engineer and like building the whole CAD for the original prototype, and then I think we made like 100 of them, and then we like sent it to Seattle, and then like we presented it to like Jeff Bezos and like all of that. So it was really cool to like I feel like even this is like a really taste of like startup life accidentally, which is really fun.
Yeah, you were on a cool team.
Like, yeah, I'm so like I like, you know, like corporate America, yeah, but like super grateful for the team that I was on, and I ended up having just such great managers there that really like just believed in like I think me and let me be on really cool things, because I can't imagine, because I think about now like a 21-year-old, like what does a 21-year-old know, you know, how to do or build or like work in a corporate structure. But it was cool that they let me like be a part of the team like that.
Yeah, and I remember like you were at the tail end of this when you were starting to do some stuff with us at the Berkeley lab, and like I remember you're like, I have to go to Seattle for a thing. Yeah, I'll be back. Yeah, and we didn't know quite what it was because it was secret at the time.
Oh,
yeah.
See, I did a good job.
Yeah. I didn't. James and I didn't hear about it, so Anna did a good job.
Oh, I forgot about that. But yeah, that I remember also just working at Amazon and working on Lioness at the same time was like, crazy. I definitely remember one of the days I overslept because we would work so late on Lioness after work, and then I remember like I slept through like 5 alarms, and my boss pinged me, was like, are you coming to the office? It's like noon. And then I was oh my gosh. And so like I got in at like 1.
And yeah, you had the hour commute too.
Yeah. And I think I made up an excuse at the time. But like, yeah, I think once I left the company, I think people understood. But yeah, I think that was a pivotal moment where I was like, I think I need to do one or the other, but I can't do both kind of situation.
Right. Oh man. I always wanted to get a Durex version of that.
Because there was cool.
One. There was one, and I never got it.
They probably have it on eBay or something.
I'll have to look. I'll see what I can.
I'm not even sure I have one at all.
Oh no, I'll have to definitely look.
Yeah.
Okay, let me. Oh, I like this one.
Wow! I seriously don't remember any of these.
And then there's also.
I tweeted this. I tweeted in 2016.
Yeah, you tweeted. There's also this one that I think around the same time.
Wow, you really dug deep.
Yeah.
I really don't remember these.
Well, you post them.
Yeah, this happens all the time when I travel. It just happened recently through Israel and Turkey. I had a layover in Turkey, but they're so strict on security. They check everything in your bag. This happens all the time when we used to fly to China. Like, because I'm always carrying so many vibrators, more than I think a normal person brings vibrators. Like, bring 1 or 2. Like, I think they just kind of get through. But especially when we're coming from China, like, I think I was like carrying like 6 or 7 of the same Lioness vibrator. Or sometimes it's like broken apart, so it's like the PCBs like exposed and everything. Through Israel, I think I brought like 3 and then like a personal one. And so I think it just gets flagged every time as like, what is going on with this person? And so, yeah, I think TSA, it's definitely like any place where they have to like check through your bag. Like I've gotten a check, then people have asked like, what is this? And I have to like explain like, oh, they're vibrators. But the beauty of it is like, they're so embarrassed usually. Like they don't question more than just like this, she masturbates a lot. And then they close the bag and they're like, okay, go through. Because I think if it's like other products, if say it's like tablets, I think they would like flag it.
Yeah.
But I think they're just always like, okay, you're free to go. But yeah. It happened recently in Israel too, which is very funny. Because to me now it's funny. Before it used to be horrifying. But
what happened in Israel?
They just like they open everything in your bag and they like check. And I had the Lioness in the pouch and then I had the ones in the box. And they opened the pouch and then I had my like a little personal bullet and my like personal Lioness. And they like opened their like licking and then the girl like just closed it and then like quickly, like pulled the drawstrings and put it back. And then I just like, we made eye contact and I was like, to me it's funny because it happens so often. Yeah, so it's just like one of those things like I don't know. I'm so used to this happening regularly now for us.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I'm like, maybe I've been doing more domestic recently, so I don't know if I get as much like thorough checking. So yeah, like when I go to conferences, I go with a bunch of vibrators, but no one has
Dude,
caught
I'm
me
sure
there.
like when they see the X-ray screen, they're like, oh, interesting. But then
Probably.
I mean, it's even like when we go to FedEx sometimes, and then they're like, what are you shipping? And then you have to explain it's a vibrator, and then they like ask so many questions. I've like had to print stuff at FedEx, and they're like, what is this? And I'm like, this is my orgasm data. And then everyone's like, then it becomes the whole thing. So it's definitely happened more than twice in our life.
I usually get it with the pins for marketing, because you have like a bag of sharp objects, like a ton of sharp objects.
Oh, that's
and
fun.
They pull that out and are like, oh, that's interesting. Like and the pin says like, I had an orgasm and all I got was this pin. And I'm usually like, yeah, do you want one?
Did they take it?
No.
Oh, they never do?
It's really sad. But
Demi Lovato has one.
I know.
That was crazy. That's big news.
Yeah, that's like, how did it get there?
Yeah, mainly because I don't know how they got it, but I was like, oh, cool. Like, I'm so glad. It's a nice pin.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's still running strong for 6 years.
Yeah. Dude, you're making me feel like I need to scrub through my social media.
Yeah, you can do that after. Yeah, let me know if there's anything you...
Is there anything alarming you found?
No, I don't. Nothing. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like 6 years ago. You is like so like cringe, you know, like seeing yourself 6 years ago.
I mean, yeah, you might see some things that to yourself would be cringe just like now. I would. Yeah, like for me, but there wasn't anything that was like, I don't know, made me like feel uncomfortable.
Anna should delete this.
Yeah, no, I didn't see any of that. So, at least in my opinion, but I don't know. You can see for yourself. There's also this, which I found funny, because I like the orgasm that's like peeking in the side.
This is a cute photo.
Yeah, I like it.
This was our launch. This was our Indiegogo party, because we reached our thing.
Yep.
Oh, we should throw more parties, honestly.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, we need to.
Yeah, that's so nice. I forgot about that. That was a nice party.
Yeah.
We should throw more parties.
Yeah. Yeah, I like this one because it was cute, and then there's also like orgasm.
Yeah. And it was so nice to just see, like, I think our friends come out to support, because I remember being like, again, we didn't have any money. I think the party was like a really just like, hey, come to this,
come hang out
in our co-working space.
I remember your friends or someone you knew brought crickets.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't think we even really provided food or drinks or anything.
I think we had a little bit, and like Skydeck helped too, Berkeley Skydeck, which we were part of. Yeah. But yeah, we put it together and got help with like space and food and stuff, and yeah, it was nice.
Yeah, we should celebrate more. I think
we always say that.
We joke about this. We're the worst about celebrating our successes.
We really are. We need to work on that. Okay, let me see if these others. Oh yeah, that was kind of similar.
Yeah. Wow. See, I don't remember any of this. Oh, I forgot that we used to use Facebook. Yeah, that was crazy. I think Indiegogo was like such a crazy time of our lives. Just like, yeah, it was like us being scrappy and then also just being terrified to make sure we like succeeded. And we're working really hard. I remember that one time we were working on a G-Doc, all of us at the same time.
For which thing?
We were like working on the Indiegogo campaign, and then we had a...
Oh no. This is, oh my god. Go on.
Is that sweet memory lane? It was just like us, we were like grinding on this campaign. Like, I think when people ask us now, like, how do you do a crowdfunding? We basically created a new business for 3 months, which was an Indiegogo campaign business of us just making sure it'll succeed. And then we were working on a Google Doc. All three of us on our separate laptops. And then I think someone deleted something.
Yeah, that's the part where I was like...
And then it just deleted every copy that we had written. We didn't recover it. We just rewrote it.
We had to redo all of it. Yeah. Yeah, and at the time too, like there were some companies that would like hire like Indiegogo consultant, and they would like, I think they sometimes would be paid by like taking or having like a portion of the funds go to that consultant. So it'd be like sort of performance based. But yeah, I don't, for whatever reason, we didn't, probably because of scrappiness.
No, I don't think we had the money to do it. I think we spent all our money on the video.
Yeah. Which,
like, even if you see the perk, like, you can get a Lioness shirt. Like, it's me. If you see it, it's me standing there, like, on the back of a white wall. Being like, here's the shirt. Yeah, it was very low fidel.
Yeah. I'm amazed. Well, I mean, it kind of goes to show that you don't need, like, all the fancy, like, funding you don't need to have, like, I was going to say high production in terms of video, but, like, yeah. You just need, like, a good substantive idea and, like, have the, like, pieces together to, like, show that this is a thing, you're doing it, and if you're interested, you can pre-order or order it.
And I think this was a good taste of us realizing, like, us being founder forward for this company was, like, important, and, like, that we were coming from because we had experienced these feelings of, like, not understanding our bodies or growing up with cultural shame, like, whatever it was. And I think that was important because I actually remember doing the Indiegogo video for this, and then they were like, and I was like, I didn't want to do the interview. Mm-hmm. And then I forgot, but then I was like, okay, I'll just do it. Like, I think it's, like, important or whatever. This is probably the first time we actually interviewed about why we're building this company, like, why it was important to us. But yeah, so it was, like, a big thing. Like, I think it probably resonated with a lot. I think the video and, like, us just being founder forward resonated with people, and that it wasn't just, like, I don't know, people trying to make, like, a get rich quick scheme or whatever. Like, we did it. I think we've always been so mission driven as a company, which makes it relatable for a lot of people, hopefully.
Yeah. I think so. For the people who like us.
Yeah, like, that know, like, I think, yeah. I would assume that most people that know Lioness know that there's, like women founders behind it. I'm pretty sure. We do a pretty good job, like, doing that.
I think so.
More now.
Yeah. Yeah, more so. Like, yeah, it is. Yeah, that was, I'm trying to remember. There was something, it's not really, it's kind of related to this, but I'm just remembering too from talking about the Indiegogo stuff. There was also that, there was, like, another Indiegogo campaign that came a few months after this that was called Leopard.
Oh.
Do you remember?
That I don't remember.
Oh my gosh, I need to see if I can find the picture because it's hilarious. It basically was probably, like, a manufacturer in China who, like, they're like, they probably saw this and it's like, oh, it's a big cat brand.
A big cat.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
And then they copied and pasted a bunch of our, like, FAQ. It was like, it's a squirting vibrator. So completely different.
Oh, I vaguely remember this.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so it's a squirting vibrator, but then they also tacked on that there's AI in it for some reason. Yeah. And then there's, like, stuff about, like, in their FAQ about, like, privacy data, but it's like, it doesn't do any data. It's just a squirting vibrator. And they had our language in it. It's like,
wow,
this is interesting. So, yeah, it's like, it kind of goes, it's kind of a contrast example to what you're talking about, like, with, like, us building it and incorporating, like, our, like, stories and our experiences as, like, being sort of a user of, like, or, like, what's the, like, having, like, we're building something for ourselves, and it's not just, like, we're seeing a business opportunity and just kind of, you know, going to rake some money, but, like, building something that's took a shitload of time to do, you know? Like,
there are 10 million better ways we could ever earn money, honestly.
I know. I'm like...
Yeah, but I think that... Okay, also, do you remember that Amazon product? That was, like, we found out they were using our logo, but it was, like, a mole remover laser thing.
Yes.
And that was the first time I think I was, like, I felt like we had made it.
Yeah.
And, like, in life, because we were, like, somebody's copying our logo because they love it so much, but it was, like, a mole removing laser tool.
Yeah,
and we had to send our first, like, you must remove this, like, this is our copyrighted logo. And I felt like that truly, I was like, damn, we, like, really made it.
Yeah, and Huang bought one of them too. Like,
we have it here somewhere. Like, it's definitely in the office somewhere. But yeah, I remember just being like, dang, like, this is Of all the moments where people are like, when did you know that you made it as a company? One, it was when someone asked us to forward their resume to our HR department. Oh, yes. I was like, that's amazing.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
And that was when we were like literally like the 4 of us working. Mm-hmm. And then the time when someone copyrighted or like stole our logo. That was so nice.
I know, we have a product to like show like, oh, someone.
Yeah, like it got around enough that they found the logo and they're like, I'm going to use this. I love that.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
That's so fun.
Yeah. I'm terrified of that product. I would never use the mole remover.
No,
but yeah.
Absolutely not.
Oh yeah, and then speaking of, there's yeah.
We should do this again. It's actually so like yeah, like I think this is again us being like we want to come off as genuine as possible and that there's like people working on this product. This is like us when we were like 4 or 5 people, and then we all had the team at the time try to draw the logo. And I always knew that I can't draw, first of all, and this was really bad.
The funny thing though is I mean you say that, but I really like the style of it because it has like the face. Oh, there's like personality to it.
Whose is this? This is nice.
That's mine.
Yeah, that one's good.
Yeah, but it's like boring. I just like copied it.
Actually, the signature is nice too.
Thank you.
This is like if you have a kid and they have to forge your signature, it's a hard one to forge.
Oh, this one?
Yeah, it feels like, no?
Maybe. We'll get to that in a few.
I can still forge my mom's signature to this day because I used to do it a lot in high school.
Oh man, I need to. That's a separate time. We'll talk about that another time. But yeah, no, I mean. I liked yours a lot because I like the OMG no.
Yeah, we should do this again. This is actually a really cool little thing that we used to do.
Yeah, we could. I think
this is just reminding us the things we need to do. There's a lot of task list stuff now after this podcast. I'm just kidding.
Okay, this is the last. Yeah, I think this is the last one that I pulled. This one was very cute.
This was So I volunteer as an assistant teacher for an after-school program called Scientific Adventures for Girls, and then we teach like math and science projects for like girls in elementary school. We do K through 5. This is when I like just had started, and I think this wasn't even before I became an assistant teacher. This is like I came in as like a one-time role model, and then you have to talk about like what you do. I obviously talked about, I think, like, my Amazon days. I don't think I talked about
That's fine. I mean, but, it's understandable.
Yeah, I was like, I'm a mechanical engineer, and you get to, like, build really cool things. And I, like, brought in, like, game controllers that I had, like, torn down so they could see what it looks like inside. And this wasn't even a thing that you had to do. There's just this girl, she, like, raised her hand. She's like, how do you spell scientist? Like, you can tell, like, she, like, erased it a bunch times. And then I, like, told her, and then she wrote that, and I was like, this is the nicest thing I've ever seen. And it was, like, so sweet that, like, yeah, kids are, I don't have that much exposure to kids, but kids are wild. But they're so cool. And I think this is, like, one of the moments I was like, oh, I'm gonna, like, keep working with this nonprofit. And, like, I still do it to this day as an assistant teacher, which is really, like, it's a nice, like, reminder outside of, I think, like work life, being, like, the world is still so much bigger. There's so many cool things happening around the world, and it's, like, nice to do that. And also, I think my thought here was also that, like, a lot of times, like, you know, obviously, especially for nonprofits, like, sometimes, you know, being able to donate money and stuff is like always the best way, but also we had no money at this time. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, oh, I'm gonna just donate time, and it's like just ended up being like that. But yeah, it's cool to see, like, hopefully girls being like, oh, like, it's cool to be a scientist or like an engineer or whatever. But yeah, it was like a really sweet, like, photo.
Yeah, like I remember when I saw that, like, looking at it from the outside, like, yeah, like how many little girls like can name a like woman who does like science or engineering who's in first grade, you know? Like, it's normally like if you know, when you first start thinking about like engineers and scientists, it's all like it's Einstein, it's Edison. Like you can rattle them off, you know? Like you don't really and like I'm even thinking about it now, I'm like I can think of a few like women scientists, but I'm gonna botch their names if I say it. I feel so bad.
As you said, like there's so many men scientists, and then you said Einstein and Edison, and I was like, suddenly I can't remember any other ones, and I was like, there's only 2, but I get what you mean.
Yeah, so it's like, it's just you made this like impression on this little girl.
I'm sure she doesn't remember the next week. What I've learned is next week I'm like, what did we do in class last week? And no one remembers. So
She may not remember, but there might be some muscle memory or some,
yeah,
you
like
know.
a seed planted or something.
Like, I learned, okay, this is sort of tangentially related, but I've been learning a lot for different reasons about, like, fetus development. And, like, apparently when you're, at some point in the development, they start remembering, like, songs that you, like, if you play, like, certain songs or, like, sing certain songs, they'll, like, there's been research on this where they, like, have identified, like, oh, there's some, either, like, when they're outside the womb, I think, like, some sort of, like, brain pattern they're able to see that there's, like, a recognition, or the baby does something, like, moves or reacts in a certain way where they recognize it. And it's the same thing with, like, language. Like, if they're bilingual, they'll, and, like, you hear, like, let's say, like, they, you know, they're the family, you know, they're around, like, English speakers, but they hear some Korean now and then or something like that, but it won't be, like, as, you know, like, they hear both of those languages, but even if they're using English primarily outside the womb, there's still some recognition of Korean or whatever language.
Wow.
So, I mean, this is, fast forward to, like, 6-year-old. Like, yeah, she may or may not remember next week, but there's something in her brain.
Planted, kind of.
Yeah.
Wow. If I had a fetus, I would play Rihanna.
Yeah, you have to start thinking,
like, WAP.
If you get to that point, you can play WAP.
Yeah.
Just help the baby go to sleep.
It's a good song, yeah. You gotta play the songs that you like listening to, otherwise you have to play, like, I don't listen to classical music, but I heard it's good for babies. But then I wouldn't want to do that because now that my kid's gonna like classical music and I have to listen to it all the time. You have to play music that you like.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. So, yeah, you made some sort of impression longer term is that's what I'm trying to say.
It's so cute.
So, yeah, I think that's, the rest of this is just, like, random screenshots of other stuff. So I think that's all I pulled this time around. Yeah. So, yeah, I think we could probably, I think we've been going on for
hours. I'm just kidding. Oh, an hour.
1 hour. Yeah. That's pretty good.
That's a long podcast.
Yeah. I'll edit it some.
Yeah. I mean, I think, like, in some, you know, in your next few episodes, like, maybe, like, your 10th episode or something, like, I can interview you for your podcast. Because people should know you because you have funny stories and there's, like, things, like, from the perspective of you growing this company and all of that, too. It's like, yeah, we've been doing this for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah, and I also want to interview James, too.
Yeah.
Like
Get all three of us in, because I
gosh.
always try to explain to people, like, the way that I see us as 3 co-founders and why I think we function in the way that we do and well is because we're 3 very different personalities.
It's
and so when the 3 of us are together, I think it's like a fascinating, like, social psychologist scientist should listen to this podcast episode because it's really interesting dynamic between 3 of us.
I'm like
Great.
a little bit, like, fascinated and terrified what the comments would be because there's, like, people judging. Oh my god.
Oh my god, that would be a good one.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Because would you interview James?
I could.
We should both interview him. Grill him.
Yeah, like, where's the remote control, James?
Yeah. Ugh, that's so great. That's true, because we don't really hear James's side of the story as much, actually.
Yeah.
I feel like he's just going to spend time roasting us.
Yeah, he could, but, I mean, we could turn, it's like, it could be an interview about him. Just be like, hey, this is about you this time.
That would be really cool. Yeah, that'd be fun. Because then it's almost a round... Well, and then if we can get the whole team, we can do a round table.
Oh my gosh.
Because that would be cool.
Yeah, we could just have everyone roast us.
I'm not ready for that. I'm too sensitive for that.
I think our team is pretty nice.
I know, but I was like, imagine if Spellon is like, I have something to say. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like coming out of left field situation.
That's true.
That'd be fun. We should do that. Like a little round table.
Yeah, people listening, whoever's still listening, let us know.
I think I think this is also the question is, like, we have so many stories and things. I just don't know what is interesting to people. But, hopefully this is Interesting.
Yeah. Well, I was planning on talking to other, like, people outside of Lioness, too.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah, like, but then, yeah, also, like, we have a lot of stories.
Yeah, but we know so many cool people, I think. Yeah, this will be fun. I think this will be fun. Good luck editing it.
Thank you. I have some, we'll see. I have some tools that might make it better.
Do you have a closing tagline thing yet?
I'm going to write that and record that later.
Oh, then put it later? Okay.
Yeah, it's, something about, like, leave a rating and follow us on social media. Actually,
5 stars.
yeah, I should ask you now because it's harder to record it after if I'm asking you. Where do people find you?
I think Instagram is AnnaTheAverage. TikTok is AnnaTheAverage. I promise I will merge it at some point in my life. But and then also just Lioness Health. I feel like definitely follow us on all our social. I think that's mainly it.
Subscribe to our newsletter.
Yeah, we have really nice newsletter. But yeah, I feel like we're both on Instagram. Like we like
more you. I'm like.
Yeah, but then it's also
much.
like nobody, like no one's running it for us, which I know a lot of people do. So you're still seeing us in like the truest forms of us just.
You mean like personal Instagram or?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, but I'm not as active on it.
Yeah, but people can see your chickens.
Oh, let's not talk about it. Or have
just
I posted
animals?
the chickens? Have I?
Cats?
When was the last time I posted? Thanks so much for listening to this episode. I really appreciate it. If you've gotten this far into the podcast, I hope I did something right. If you enjoyed this episode, you can press the like button, you can click on the stars, leave a comment. It really helps to get the episode out there. It helps get me feedback for what you might want to listen to or what you want to learn about next. So yeah, I'd really appreciate it. Until next time, stay curious.